Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope you've had a really great week. For those of you who tune in every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, welcome back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment, we are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you watching the replay of this on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like the page, share this video, and subscribe to the page. So welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you are new to mental health moment and you're like, what is mental health moment all about? It's all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So thanks for those who are starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So each week, what we do essentially is go through different mental wellness tips and really thinking about, again, how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are. And a lot of times it's really the baby steps, right? Sometimes we want to take leaps, which are great too, but a lot of times it's also the baby steps that we take. But let me know where you are tuning in from in the chat. Today I am in, I wouldn't say sunny. Well, I guess it's sunny, but it's also getting a little cold here, but it's not snowing like other parts of the country. I'm in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, which is where I reside. For those of you who have been impacted by this crazy winter storm that I've seen so many pictures of, please be safe, take care of yourself. I've just been seeing all these all the videos and the things with the snow and storm and the power outages of unfortunately. So hopefully all of you guys are good, taking care of yourself, taking care of other people and checking in. But again, thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Before I begin today, let me give you a couple of quick announcements and let me see if I can find this site for you. Let's see. Okay, let me give you some information. Okay. So first is, you may have heard it already. I believe it's on my social media too. Yeah, it should be on my social media pages for more information. But on Sunday, March 22nd, I will be speaking at the Intersection event that is in Tampa, Florida. So for those of you in the Florida area, be sure to grab your tickets for that. That's Sunday, March 22nd. I'll be speaking at, it's called the Intersection, and all the details of how to register if you're in the area is on my social media. I'm trying to remember if it's been pinned. Don't think so. But if you see, you'll see the flyer. It literally says, it has my picture and it says the Intersection on it. So you can always register there. But it's going to be a great day. It's a full day event. It's all themed around wellness. Again, being better versions of ourselves, right? I'm going to be talking about mindset during one of the panels. It's hosted by Melissa Atkinson, who is absolutely an amazing human. So I'm so excited for this event and so excited to be a part of it. But again, Sunday, March 22nd, it's an all-day event, Tampa Bay. To get more information, you can always go to, like I said, any of my social media channels. It's on there. The second thing I wanted to invite you all to is, let me make sure I get the right date again, is Sunday, February 1st. Now, this is, especially for my California folks, we're not just California, I know we're a global community. It will be, Sunday, February 1st, at 7 p.m. Pacific time, because I'll be out in San Francisco at that time. There will be an award ceremony that I'm honored to be at and honored to receive what's called the Brand Influencer Award. So I'm super excited about that and to be there. But they are actually going to be live streaming the award ceremony. So if some of you all wanted to come over virtually and watch, if you can't be in San Francisco live, right, for that event. And that will be on the OnStage Plus platform, is where you can watch the award ceremony. And again, I'll be posting it also on social media. So if you follow me anywhere on social media, you'll see it on there and see the exact link and all that good stuff. But that one, again, is Sunday, February 1st at 7 p.m. Well, the award ceremony starts at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Because again, I'll be in San Francisco. for that one. So I always, for those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment, I always try to invite you to things that are open to the public that I do. Unfortunately, a lot of things are not open to the public. Just some of the speaking events and things like that for different organizations and corporations. But when it is open to the public, then I love to invite you all to that. So those are my announcements for today. Hi from Boston. Welcome back. But let me know where you're tuning in from. Again, Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Today, one of my favorite topics that I'll be sharing with you some tips on. I wanted to talk to you about mental resilience because so important, a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. Because, for those of you who are interested in the Super Bowl, which it's gazillions of people, right? Maybe your team made it there this year. I don't know. But a lot of times when we think of athletes, my team and I just recently created a program for staff of elite athletes. A lot of times with athletes, we think a lot about mental toughness. We think about mental resilience, right? But mental resilience is not just for athletes. And many of us can really think about having that sort of mindset, right? To take care of ourselves, to get to the top of your game, whatever your game may be, right? Your game might not be on a football field. Your game might be being the best parent or being the best grandparent or being the best sibling or being the best coworker or whatever your game, right, is. But it's a really about having the mindset shift to be the best at whatever it is that you're trying to do and thinking about taking care of yourself, which we talk a lot about, right? On Mental Health Moment. And let me know again where you are tuning in from in the chat. Hopefully I'll be able to see the comments. I know you'll usually put comments, but sometimes I can't see them with technology or sometimes they pop up late. But yeah, definitely let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat and hopefully I can see more of your comments at some point during the live. So I wanted to share with you a couple of tips today around that idea, right? So one is this idea of a lot of times when we have whatever goals, again, we're still sort of at the beginning of the year, maybe you set some goals or not, but a lot of times we're all of us can be guilty of being so focused on performance, focused on an outcome, focus on the goal, which you should be, right? If we're trying to achieve something. However, a lot of us don't also train for the recovery, right? So what happens is we can't, and I share this, I want to say I share this from a place of living the majority of my life with a go, go, go attitude and not taking care of myself. Highly would not recommend that route until I had my epiphany moment, right? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I do need to take care of myself. But life is very different now, thankfully. But I want you to think about, so tip number one today, I want you to think about how do you train, if you will, whatever your goals are, whatever you want to achieve for your recovery and not just to achieve whatever it is. Because some of you may be in a place where you're like, I need to spend a lot of time, I need to spend a lot of energy, and you get to the point where you're just depleted and exhausted because we didn't take the time to do the pause. We didn't think about the reset moments that are important and not just, well, we're talking today about mental resilience, but also not just mentally, but also physically, right? Because there's a whole connection, mind and body. It's a whole another mental health moment. But really thinking about how do you take those intentional pauses. We talk a lot, of course, about taking the minute if you're not new to mental health moment, but really thinking about resetting your nervous system as well. So we're not always revved up, which helps us to actually be more productive. Right. So I want you to remember that um taking the deep breaths, having the if you have an opportunity to have a slow morning or just these really tiny moments of joy and the resetting can really, really go a long way. And I think of it also like when I think of elite athletes of, they're not just training to be in their sport. Like they have recovery times too that's built in. Now, granted, there's a very strict regimen, obviously, right, to get to certain levels. But for us, as maybe non-athletes, non-elite athletes, if that's your where your world is right now, we still need to be persistent and have our goals, go hard, all the good, all those things. Those are great things, right, to achieve, and also making sure that we are setting the time for recovery, right? So I will share. For example, um, for many of you who are not new to mental health moment, you know that I'm generally, I don't know, somewhere or another, probably in another city. So there are a lot of times when I am in heavy travel with all the different projects and the things, right? So because of that, and you don't have to be in heavy travel, I'm just giving you an example, but because of that, I know that I have to almost schedule and really think about my recovery time. This trip coming up to San Francisco, I'll be there next week for Super Bowl media week. I saw the schedule. It's very hectic. It is a very busy and hectic time. I'm super excited and honored to be there, but at the same time, well, and for those of you who follow me on social, I'll put all of the behind the scenes on my Instagram stories. So if you follow me on Instagram, just be sure I'll be sharing as much as I can as they'll allow me and the Instagram stories. But also throughout that hectic, busy time that I know it's going to be, I also am very mindful to say, okay, for me personally, and do your wellness routine, but I'm like, let me pack my vitamin C, let me pack my B12 for some extra energy. Let me make sure I take my minutes. Like it's going to be hectic. Media is already hectic. I've been there, done that. Like I get it. It's hectic, but let me take I might not be able to take a whole hour break, but I can take mini breaks throughout the day. I can make sure I'm doing my deep breathing, try my best to stay hydrated, right? So that is what I mean that especially in your busier seasons of life, whatever that looks like for you, to make sure that you're, as we say, training for recovery and not just for output, right? Not just to get things done, but also, okay, I'm going to take my breaks. Like I'm going to take care of myself, right? It's about getting into that mindset. So that's tip number 1 for you today. Um, and let me know, for those of you who are just tuning in, thanks for tuning in. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Today, we're talking about mental resiliency, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Of course, the Super Bowl is coming up. Well, if you're watching the replay of this, the Super Bowl is already over. But if you're watching it live, the Super Bowl is coming up here. There's a lot of talk. Excuse me, I have a lot of conversations right now, right, about mental toughness and mental resilience, but it's not just for elite athletes. You can work on having that type of mentality as well, because it's important for us to have those types of strong mentalities to get through the ups and downs and challenges of life, right? The second thing I want to share with you today is really to think about learning to respond instead of react, which is a tough thing to do sometimes, especially when there's strong emotions that come about. So whatever that particular instance may be for you, whatever situation may be happening, sometimes we don't pause long enough and we just quickly react, right? So someone says something, you get upset, boom, you respond, right? Or I should say you react, right? Instead of taking a moment to really think about how you respond. Same thing with emails. Sometimes I've worked with different corporations and it's so funny. Oftentimes I've heard the stories about the triggering emails. Actually, I've heard a lot of stories about emails being triggering for many reasons. There's a lot happening in the world globally. Yeah, I've worked with global companies too and just heard the stories of people saying things that are inappropriate, that are offensive, fill in the blank, right? So again, though, are you reacting to that email if this is the case for you, or are you taking a moment to respond? Sometimes we really have to be pausing before we respond. It's amazing. It's amazing what can happen actually when you take a moment to pause, because your brain has a moment to rethink how you are going to say what you need to say next versus like a quick reaction, right? And sometimes we say things and then we didn't mean them and then we regret them and there's consequences for that and all sorts of things, right? Because we didn't take that pause. So again, I just want you to think about one of the ways to think about having a resilient mindset is really thinking about how am I going to choose to respond in this situation instead of being impulsive with my reaction, right? And remember that a lot of times I say this, I feel like I say this in every mental health moment, but a lot of times we tell ourselves stories that are not even true, right? So our perception of things are not true because we've been so clouded by our emotions. And then when you think about it, when you're clouded by your emotions, your anger, your sadness, your anxiety, whatever feelings you have, and then you quickly react on that, it's like, "Ooh," right? Sometimes we take a step back and we're all guilty of this. It's just a matter of being more self-aware about it or being more aware about it. But but if we had taken that pause and taken a step back and seen the situation differently, we really could have responded in a different way that we may have liked later on, right? When we really start to analyze it. So that's what tip number 2 is about. And then the third thing is, and this is something that it's so funny. So I watch sports and I'm always looking at, and I have a son who's an athlete, and I'm always looking at the reactions of the players sometimes. Like the psychologist in me is like, how are we reacting? Like what's going on in your head, right? Like I'm always seeing like, is your head in? I always say, especially to my son, too, I'm like, make sure, keep your head in the game. And there's just so many distractions and all the things, right? But one of the things that's so fascinating to me is I'm always looking at certain players when they have like a bad play, right? Let's say, for example, again, Super Bowl coming up, it's football. Horrible play. Um, take your pick, right? Just a horrible play. And that player, of course, the zoom in the camera, on that player. And it's like, how do you bounce back from that? And some players do really well and they bounce back. And it's great. And you can just see like they're so in the zone. They bounce back. They're like, okay, made a mistake. I'm on to the next play. Right. Like, how do you though, again, maybe you're not going to the Super Bowl here. But how do you and your whatever your like I said, whatever your game is for you, if it's work, if it's relationships, if it's children, if it's grandchildren, friendships, community, whatever it is for you, your game, like the game that you're playing right now, how do you really think about separating out the things that happen that you didn't want to happen because that's life, separating it from who you are, right? So that we can again the idea of resilience is like getting back up. How do we adapt? How do we move on? Which is not always the easiest thing, but how do we have that mindset, right? Like maybe you did something at work and you're like, dang it, I didn't mean to do that. Like maybe you messed up. Like it happens. We all make mistakes. There's small mistakes and big mistakes. But maybe something happened and you were like, man, I am just thinking about it over and over. Like it's really hard for you get past that. It's very hard for you to move forward. Like, right? Like, are you in that mentality or are you in the mentality where you're like, okay, let me see what I could learn from this mistake. Let me see where I can learn from this experience. How can I be better? Right? Like it's where is your mental resilience? And I will say again, it's so funny on Mental Health Moment, you all, because I talked to you all about how to deal and cope with a lot of different problems. But the reality is, as we all know, problems are definitely on a spectrum, right? So again, there's minor things that we can bounce back from. There's things that happen to us or that we do or whatnot that take more time to recover from, right? And that's okay. But again, it's having the mindset to know that whatever it is happened, like let's separate that from your identity, and think about, okay, how can I be better the next time around, right? Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I am, because sometimes that happens to us accidentally, where you say, okay, now I'm not good enough, now I'm not worthy, now I'm not, whatever the negative thinking that starts to happen because you did something where you did a oops, right? Like you made a mistake. um so also, I want to remind you that you are more than your last experience of whatever it is that you did. Like I said, if it's at work, if it's in your personal life, it's in your professional life, or whatever is going on with you at the present time, working on again, moving through that. And sometimes I always say, I have to preface a mental health moment. Sometimes it's whatever the situation is, it's just a lot. And it might not you might not just be able to get through it alone, which is okay. And you might need to reach out to a mental health professional, right? Or you might need to reach out to a coach or a mentor or someone at a place of worship or a friend or whomever, but someone who can support you through that, right? So it is okay if you have to handle some problems in your life with someone else to help you. That is okay. You don't have to do everything alone. I feel like I'm speaking to someone today. I don't know who it is, but for those of you who are just the person that thinks every single thing you have to figure out on your own, you don't. You just don't. Some things, yes, of course, but there are a lot of people in the world that care about you. There's a lot of people that want to help you. It may not be in your immediate circle for whatever reason, right? It may not be your family members. It may not be your friend friends around you or whomever, coworkers, whomever else around you. But there are people in the world, great, amazing people who care about you and want to help you, right? Sometimes we have to look for those people, but they exist because I've met many of them. They exist, great people in the world. Okay. So, I am very sad that I cannot see your all's comments. Man, I really like when I'm able to read your comments. Well, hopefully you've been commenting anyhow. Unfortunately, I saw one comment come in. I know that there's more comments out there. But I'm so sorry I couldn't read your comments tonight. Or this morning, if for those of you, depending on where you're at in the world. But I'm sure your comments are amazing. I wish I could read them and respond to them. But technology is going to do what technology is going to do. So hopefully next week I'll be actually able to read your comments. But but I do want to remind you as well that if you ever miss a mental health moment, you can always go to Dr. Nikisha Hammond. It's on the screen. How to spell it? Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page. You can subscribe to the page. There's I don't even know how many videos. I don't know. I think there's hundreds of videos at this point. But you can always watch the replay. It'll have the title obviously of the episode, and you can always watch the replay when you need them on the YouTube page. So I want to remind you of that. Also, if you came in late, let me just do my quick announcement really quick at the end. I think I'll start doing announcements at the end too, because I know sometimes some of you all come in late. Okay, two quick announcements. Let me find the date. Okay, the first one is so mark your calendar announcement. The first one is Sunday, February 1st at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So I know it's kind of late for the Eastern Coast people. So 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I will be receiving, which I'm honored to receive, the Brand Influencer Award, which is hosted by Onstage Plus TV. So they will be live streaming the entire award ceremony, which is pretty cool. So I'm inviting you all virtually to attend, unless you want to come out to San Francisco. But again, you can view it virtually, of course. And that information will be on my social media. We'll be posting it this week. But save the date. So Sunday, February 1st, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. The other announcement, the last announcement I have is on Sunday, March 22nd in Tampa Bay. There's an event I'll be speaking at. It's called The Intersection. I'm very excited to be there talking about mindset, right? On a really I think it's going to be a great event. It's hosted by Melissa Atkinson. Again, Tampa Bay. You can register. The information is on my social right now. You just look for the flyer that says the intersection. It'll have information about how to get tickets. It's an all-day event. It's a wellness event. It's going to be amazing. And I'm super excited to be there and would love to see you there too. Yeah, I think those are the ones that I could announce that are open to the public. So, okay. So those are some events that I can announce that are open to the public coming up that I'll be at. I would love to see you at one of them, or I guess the award ceremony you'll obviously be watching. I won't be able to see you, but I'll be able to feel your energy. So those are my announcements today, but I will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be blessed. Have an amazing week, and I will see you all next week. Bye, guys.